I want you to close your eyes for just a second.
Well, unless you're driving.
Right, yeah. Please do not close them if you're driving. But otherwise, just imagine you were standing on a completely smooth metallic ball.
Okay.
It is roughly the size of a compact car, maybe a little smaller, and it is incredibly slippery.
Just hearing that makes my palms sweat a little.
It gets worse.
Yeah.
The wind isn't just blowing up there, it is howling. It's screaming past your ears and probably whipping your hair into your eyes so hard it physically stings.
Yeah.
And if you make the mistake of looking down, which is the absolute one thing your brain is screaming at you not to do, there's absolutely nothing beneath your sneakers. Just air.
Right. Just a sheer, terrifying drop.
A drop of over 1,600 feet straight down to the pavement.
It is a literal nightmare scenario for most people. I mean, my heart rate is going up just picturing it. But the wild thing is, for most of the world, that is exactly the image they were staring at in late January of 2026.
We are talking, of course, about the very tip of the spire of Taipei 101. And we're talking about Alex. You know, that famous American climber who somehow decided that a safety harness was basically optional.
It was a massive global moment. It was broadcast to something like 190 countries.
190, yeah. People were completely glued to their screens. I remember watching it live. My palms were sweating so much I thought I was going to drop my phone.
Same here.
And on the surface, the story everyone was telling was about sheer athleticism. It was about human grit. I mean, the guy climbed the outside of one of the world's tallest buildings in exactly 91 minutes and 33 seconds.
Which is an unbelievable physical feat. And I don't want to take anything away from that. It is practically superhuman.
Oh, absolutely superhuman. But, and this is exactly why we are here today, if you think this was just a guy climbing a building for the adrenaline rush or, I don't know, a massive sponsorship deal, the stack of sources we have for today's deep dive suggests you are missing the entire point.
Completely missing it.
You're essentially looking at the cover of the book and missing the whole novel inside.
Right. Because if we look at the materials we've gathered for this deep dive, particularly this really detailed research from the MicroCosmic group, this wasn't a stunt at all. It was a ritual.
A ritual. I mean, that is a really heavy word to use for a free climb.
It is. The sources describe it as a ritualistic unlocking of what they call heavenly secrets.
Wow.
They argue that Alex wasn't just scaling a skyscraper. He was scaling a massive architectural spiritual antenna, a machine designed to bridge different worlds.
Okay.
And by reaching the top, he wasn't just setting a world record, he was symbolically rushing out of the 9 heavens.
Okay, let's unpack this right now.
Yeah.
Because I've seen Taipei 101. I've been to Taipei. And it looks incredibly cool. It kind of looks like a giant stack of takeout boxes or bamboo stalks.
Right, the bamboo design?
Yeah, but I never looked at it and thought, ah, yes, a divine antenna for cosmic secrets.
Well, that is the beauty of really great architecture, isn't it? It hides things right in plain sight. It speaks a structural language that your subconscious might actually pick up on, even if your conscious mind is just seeing glass and steel and office windows.
That makes sense.
So today's deep dive is going to decode that exact structure. We are going to look at why these sources claim Taipei 101 is actually a 9-story pagoda and something called a 5-wheel pagoda.
Okay.
And here's where it gets really interesting. They claim this building is a map.
A map of what? Like the city, the stars.
A map of you.
Really?
Yes, a map of the hidden structure of the human body and the universe itself.
Okay, that is a massive claim. We are going from a commercial skyscraper in Taiwan to the literal anatomy of the human soul.
Precisely. And we're going to try to answer the ultimate questions that these sources say the building is fundamentally asking us. Questions like, who are we? Where do we come from? And what is the intense significance of this specific year, 2026?
I love it. And just as a quick reminder for you listening, we always impartially report on what is in the source materials. We aren't endorsing any specific worldview or taking any sides here. We're just laying out this incredibly fascinating theory as it is presented to us.
Absolutely. We're just following the documents.
So let's start with the building itself. When I look at Taipei 101, I see that very distinctive, segmented look. It is iconic. So what are we actually looking at through this esoteric lens?
So as you mentioned, most architectural guides, like the standard tourist brochures you'd get in the lobby, will tell you it's designed to look like bamboo.
Right.
Because bamboo represents growth, resilience, flexibility. It's a very positive, forward-looking symbol in Chinese culture. But our deep dive sources point to a much older, much more spiritual blueprint. They describe the building as a 9-level pagoda.
9 levels. I do know the number 9 is hugely significant in Chinese culture.
It's paramount. It is the number of the emperor. It's the number of the heavens. It represents the ultimate limit. It's the highest single digit you can reach before you loop back to 1.
Oh, right. And if you count the main sections of the tower, you have the massive base, that's the foundation block, and then rising above that, there are 8 distinct flared sections. So 1 base plus 8 sections equals 9.
Okay, so mathematically, it fits perfectly, just hidden right there in the geometry.
Exactly. And in the source material, this 9-story pagoda represents the 3 realms and 9 heavens. This is a profound concept found in both Buddhism and Taoism. Essentially, it's a model of the celestial hierarchy.
Meaning what, exactly?
Meaning the universe isn't just a flat plane of existence, it is a ladder. And this building is a literal physical manifestation of that ladder.
So the building is basically a stairway to heaven.
In a sense, yes, it connects the earth to the sky. But the most critical part of this whole structure, according to these documents, isn't the office floors or the luxury shopping mall down at the bottom.
Right.
It is the very top, the spire.
The needle, the exact spot where Alex was standing. The needle. That is where the deep esoteric symbolism really kicks into high gear. The sources identify this spire not as a radio antenna, but as a 5-wheel pagoda, or gorintu in the Japanese tradition.
Gorintu. I think I've actually seen those in photos of Japanese temples. They look like stacks of different geometric shapes, right? Like a square, a circle, a triangle.
Exactly. You see them a lot at places like Sensoji in Tokyo, or very often in graveyards acting as memorials. They are very visually distinct. They're composed of 5 specific shapes stacked on top of each other.
Okay.
You have a square at the bottom, then a circle on top of that, then a triangle, then a semicircle, and finally a jewel shape right at the very top.
And these aren't just decorative blocks. They actually mean something.
They represent the entire structure of reality. In esoteric Buddhism, which is also known as Tangmi, the universe is composed of 5 fundamental elements, and the 5-wheel pagoda is a pure geometric representation of those elements.
Which are, I'm guessing, earth, water?
Yes, earth, water, fire, wind, and void, or space.
Earth, water, fire, wind, void. Okay, I'm tracking.
The square represents earth. It's stable, it's solid. The circle is water, which is fluid. The triangle is fire, representing sharp, rising energy.
That makes sense.
The semicircle is wind, representing movement. And the jewel at the top is void. That's the ether, the spirit, the space that contains all the other elements. The sources argue that the spire of Taipei 101 effectively mimics this exact elemental progression.
So the architect literally hid a massive religious symbol right at the top of a modern commercial building.
Well, if you zoom in on the high-resolution photos of Alex standing up there, you can actually see the structure clearly. The spire has these distinct ring sections. There are 9 of them, which again echoes the 9 heavens. And then at the very, very top, there is a ball.
The slippery ball Alex was balancing on, which, again, absolutely terrifying.
Right. And the sources call that specific ball the Manny Jewel.
The Manny Jewel.
Yeah.
That sounds like something straight out of an adventure movie, like Raiders of the Lost Manny Jewel.
It really does, but it is a profoundly serious Buddhist term. It represents the Great Awakening. It's sometimes called a wish-fulfilling jewel. It essentially symbolizes the absolute clarity of the mind when it has successfully transcended all the messy, heavy elements below it.
Wow.
So visually, on that day, you have this climber physically standing on the Pearl of Wisdom atop a structure representing the entire cosmos.
Okay, so he is physically standing on the Great Awakening. That is an incredible visual. But let's go back to this 5-wheel concept for a second.
Yeah.
Because this is where our sources take a pretty hard left turn into human anatomy.
Yes, they do. This is really the first big aha moment of our research today. The sources argue that the structure isn't just a model of the universe out there, like the external universe.
Right.
They argue it is identical to the composition of the human body.
The physical body.
Yes. They argue that the human body is also literally a 5-wheel pagoda.
Yeah.
It is composed of earth, which is your bones, your flesh, all the solid stuff. Water, which is your blood and bodily fluids. Fire, which is your body heat and your metabolism. Wind, which is your breath and your internal energy flow. And void, which is your consciousness or your spirit.
Whoa. So when we stand on the street and look up at the building, we're essentially looking at a mirror.
That is the central thesis here. One of the images in our source stack actually places a diagram of a traditional 5-wheel pagoda directly next to a medical diagram of the human spine.
Really?
Yeah. And they reference these ancient murals from Dunhuang Those are the famous caves in China that are just filled with ancient Buddhist art.
Oh, right, the Dunhuang Caves. The art there is incredible.
It is. And the sources claim that hidden within those ancient murals are depictions of the human body that look exactly like these pagodas. The internal structure of the human spine and the energy centers, the chakras, matches the three realms and nine heavens architecture perfectly.
That is wild. So the architect builds this massive skyscraper, maybe knowing this esoteric connection, maybe completely unaware of it. But the end result is that we have a 1,600-foot tall model of a human being standing right in the middle of Taipei.
Exactly. And this leads us to the much more provocative part of the theory. Because if the body is a pagoda and the building is a pagoda, what exactly is a pagoda for?
Well, usually pagodas are built for housing relics, right? Like sacred bones or ancient scriptures. You build them to protect something very valuable.
Correct. You build a pagoda to keep something safe, but you also build it to keep something contained.
Contained. Okay, now it sounds like we are entering a mystery novel. What do you mean, contained? Like a prison?
This brings us to the Monkey King analogy in the sources.
Sun Wukong. From Journey to the West. I absolutely loved that story growing up. He's the ultimate trickster god.
He is the ultimate rebel. He crashes the elite parties in heaven. He steals the peaches of immortality. He fights armies of gods. He represents pure, unbridled, limitless power. But think about the beginning of his story. The Monkey King gets trapped. Do you remember how that happens?
Yeah, the Buddha traps him under a giant mountain.
And do you remember what the mountain was called?
Five Elements Mountain.
Bingo! Five Elements Mountain, Wu Xing.
Wait a minute. Five Elements Mountain, five-wheel pagoda, earth, water, fire, wind, void.
You see the connection now.
Oh my God.
The sources are arguing that the story of the Monkey King isn't just an entertaining fairy tale. It is a direct allegory for the human condition. They claim the human body is the Five Elements Mountain.
So we are the Monkey King.
In this specific interpretation, yes. The source material explains that what they call 1,000 spirit kings and 10,000 ancestors, which are basically extremely high-level divine beings, descended into this lower material realm. But to exist here, they had to be sealed.
Sealed inside what?
Sealed in the skin of the human body. The theory goes that the creator designed the human body with this specific 3 realms and 9 heavens structural blueprint to lock these immensely powerful beings in.
Wow.
It allows them to exist in the dense physical world without completely destroying it with their immense energy. It safely contains them.
That is a lot to process.
Yeah.
So my physical body isn't just a biological machine forged by evolution. It is a highly engineered containment vessel for a king of spirits.
That is what the deep dive documents propose. The 5 elements of your physical form, so your heavy flesh as earth, your blood as water, your heat as fire, your breath as wind, these elements are literally the mountain pressing down on your true original self, the void.
And Taipei 101 is just this giant architectural reminder of this imprisonment.
Or, depending entirely on how you choose to look at it, a massive reminder of the potential to break free.
Right, because the Monkey King eventually gets out. He doesn't just stay trapped under the mountain forever.
Exactly. And that is where the 9-story symbolism comes circling back. The sources mention that deep, profound meditation allows a person to consciously ascend through these 9 heavens inside their own body. You basically climb the internal tower to break your physical limits.
So when Alex free climbed the actual physical tower, he was physically enacting what we are all supposed to be doing spiritually.
That is the core argument of these texts. He was physically showing us the internal path. He started at the heavy base, the dense material world, and he climbed up past the earth, past the water and wind, until he finally stood completely free on top of the void.
This connects directly to a specific text mentioned in the sources, right? There was a sutra with a very long name that I am absolutely going to struggle to pronounce.
Yes, it is a Buddhist scripture called the All Tathagata's Secret Whole Body Relic Treasure Chest Sealed Dharani Sutra.
Wow. Secret whole body relic treasure chest. Try saying that 5 times fast.
I will not even attempt it. But the title itself is incredibly important. It specifically mentions a secret whole body. The sources suggest that for centuries, monks and scholars read the sutra and thought it was simply instructions about building physical stupas or pagodas to house literal Buddha relics, like bits of bone or ash.
But the twist is...
The twist, according to our source material, is that when the sutra mentions a pagoda containing millions of tathagatas, meaning millions of Buddhas, it is actually talking about the human body.
That the physical human body contains millions of Buddhas.
That the body contains the immense potential of these divine beings. The whole body relic isn't a tiny piece of bone sitting in a wooden box. It is the living human vessel. The text is essentially saying you are the treasure chest, but the chest is currently sealed shut.
This really shifts the entire paradigm.
Yeah.
It changes the fundamental question from what is this building to who am I?
And that is explicitly one of the core questions posed in the source images. Who am I? Why did I come here? Where am I going? They argue that this architecture is a silent teacher. It's just standing there in the middle of the city skyline, begging you to stop and ask those questions. It's like a giant post-it note from the universe saying, remember who you actually are.
It's so fascinating because it takes something so incredibly modern, super tall engineering, steel, glass, ultra-fast elevators, and roots it entirely in this ancient mystical purpose. But I have to ask about the timeline. Why now? Why are we talking about this in relation to the year 2026? Why didn't this happen 10 years ago?
The timing is absolutely key to their theory. You cannot separate the climbing event from the timeline. The sources are very specific about the intense significance of the year 2026.
I saw a lot of mentions of the red horse in the notes.
Yes. In the traditional Chinese calendar, the sexagenary cycle, 2026 is the year of Bing Wu. That translates to the red horse. It is also deeply associated with the concept of 9 purple fire.
9 purple fire. That sounds intense. It sounds like a superhero movie title.
It refers to the flying star feng shui energies for that period. Fire is all about rapid transformation, sudden illumination, and yes, sometimes destruction. It rapidly burns away what isn't strictly necessary. The sources describe this specific period as a time of great revelation and great awakening.
So things that were deliberately hidden are finally coming to light.
Exactly. And they claim that Alex's climb happening right at the start of this highly volatile red horse year is a deliberate signal. It is a cosmic marker.
A signal of what exactly?
A signal of the ancient seal finally breaking. Remember the exact time of the climb.
91 minutes.
91, 9 and 1. The sources say this was absolutely no accident of pacing or endurance. It mathematically reinforces the 9 symbolism of the heavens. They interpret him standing on the Mani Jewel as a human being finally rushing out of the 9 heavens.
Rushing out of 9 heavens. It really sounds like a prison break.
Or a graduation. The phrase 9 decks and 1 life is repeatedly used in the text. It implies a highly dangerous but absolutely necessary transcendence. The physical climb symbolizes the soul breaking out of the 5 elements mountain, breaking out of the heavy trap of the body, and reclaiming that original high-level spiritual status.
There was also one detail in the notes, and this one felt a little more sci-fi than the rest, maybe even a little X-Files, about a fleet.
Ah, yes, the 31 ATLA's fleet.
What on earth is that? Or I guess I should ask if it's even on Earth.
The source material gets a little cryptic here, but it mentions that the 31 ATLA's fleet is waiting outside.
Waiting outside the building.
Outside the 3 realms, outside the 5 elements trap entirely. The suggestion is that humanity is currently being watched or waited for by external forces.
Watched or waited for. That genuinely gives me chills.
It ties directly into a slogan found in the documents. MicroCosmic International, where ancient myth meets future tech. They seem to be suggesting that this spiritual awakening isn't just about sitting quietly on a cushion and meditating. It has massive cosmic, perhaps even extraterrestrial or interdimensional implications.
That is a wild connection to make. You have the ancient Monkey King folklore on one side, which is hundreds of years old, and this futuristic fleet concept on the other, and it is all centered around a single skyscraper in Taiwan.
But if you accept their basic premise, that the universe is a 3-realm structure and the human body is a containment vessel for high-level beings, then the idea of a fleet or external forces waiting for us to finally wake up actually fits the narrative perfectly. It suggests we are part of a much, much bigger story than just paying taxes and going to work every day.
It really reframes the whole event. I mean, when I first saw the news footage of Alex balancing on the spire, I just thought, wow, incredibly brave guy. But now, looking at these sources, I'm seeing a ritual enactment of the soul liberating itself from the material world, broadcast live to 190 countries during the vol year of the Fire Horse.
It's a powerfully compelling narrative. It takes a standard news cycle event and turns it into a mythic, historical event. It elevates the totally mundane to the deeply magical.
So what does all this actually mean for you listening at home? I mean, most of us are definitely not going to climb Taipei 101. Please do not go try to climb Taipei 101.
Please don't. Security is extremely tight. And as we established, it is incredibly windy.
But if the building is a map of us, what are we supposed to actively do with that information?
I think the ultimate takeaway here is about perspective. We so often feel small in our daily lives. We feel trapped by our physical bodies, by our financial circumstances, by the endless daily grind. The Five Elements Mountain presses down on everyone. We feel the heavy weight of the earth and the turbulence of the wind every single day.
Very true. It's so easy to just feel crushed by the weight of it all.
But these sources are reminding us that the trap was specifically designed to hold something incredibly powerful. If you feel like the Monkey King trapped under the mountain, that implies that you actually are the Monkey King. You have that immense potential inside you. You are not the heavy mountain. You are the divine thing under the mountain waiting to finally get out.
You just have to figure out a way to lift the weight.
Or climb the internal tower. The Great Awakening that the sources talk about isn't something that just happens to you passively from the outside. A UFO isn't going to just beam you up and magically fix your life. It is an internal recognition of what is already there. The Manny Jewel, that slippery ball at the very top of the tower, is a symbol of your own true original nature.
That's actually really empowering. It makes the everyday architecture of the city feel like a massive puzzle just waiting to be solved. Like our environment is constantly trying to talk to us.
It does. It invites you to walk through the world with magic eyes, so to speak, to see profound symbols and ancient patterns where everyone else just sees steel, concrete, and commerce.
And maybe to look at yourself a little differently, too. Not just as a random collection of bones and blood, just earth and water, but as a highly designed vessel containing 1,000 spirit kings.
A vessel that is completely capable of rushing out of the nine heavens if you can just find the way up.
Well, the next time I see a picture of Taipei 101, I am definitely not going to look at it the same way. I am going to see the five-wheel pagoda.
And hopefully you'll also see the reflection of your own limitless potential.
We've covered a tremendous amount of ground today. We went from a terrifying daredevil climb to the geometric architecture of the cosmos, to the All-Tathagata Sutra, and finally to the impending Great Awakening of 2026.
It has definitely been a journey.
It really has. And that brings us to the end of this deep dive. We started by looking at a commercial skyscraper, but we ended up mapping out the human soul. The sources present Taipei 101 not just as a marvel of modern engineering, but as a literal celestial machine, a giant talisman standing guard in the east.
And it leaves us with that deeply provocative thought. If the building is indeed a map of your body, and your body is a tight seal for a king of spirits, then the true climb isn't about scaling a physical tower at all. It's about unlocking what is already inside you.
So here is the question we want to leave you with today. Are you just a physical body walking around, or are you the Monkey King just waiting to break out of the mountain?
And if that mysterious ATLAS fleet really is out there waiting, what exactly are they waiting for?
Just a little something to think about while you look in the mirror tomorrow morning. Thanks for exploring this deep dive with us. We'll catch you on the next one.
Goodbye.
Observe, connect.